morning, dear people of the internet, and welcome back to the 1950s. We are going to be talking about etiquette again. We did that last time with modern etiquette, and today we're going to do it with 50s etiquette. Last time we discovered that etiquette is something that is very old, so it's a little color lesson here, so let's have some color, because I will be judging this etiquette in the context of today, because why not? So this will be a pretty unfair judging. I found some videos from the 1950s that were shown in American high schools back then to teach the students about etiquette. Just like last time, I will be putting every etiquette rule we find into a tier list so we can judge them, because I find them very interesting as an autistic person, because on one hand, I like having clear rules about how to act in society, because I find it hard without the rules. However, another part of my brain thinks that we're just silly little human creatures and what does it matter anyway? On the other hand, there are also a lot of people who seem to find it very hard to just be kind, which I think is the only thing that should matter, and I think that is what most of the etiquette is based on anyway. So maybe we do need it. Anyhow, today we're going to find out how much the etiquette has changed over the last 75-ish years. Before we get into all of that, I have a very short public service announcement. I have this very delusional plan of this channel helping me through college and beyond, and you can help me with that for free by subscribing and watching my videos when you like them. So thank you for that. Now let's get started.
Hi, I'm sorry I'm late, but I ran into Jean here. Oh, Jean, this is Ed the Ed I was telling you about. Hello.
How do you do?
And this is Jack Connors. Jean Bassett from over at Morrisville.
How do you do, Jean?
Hello.
Here, you can sit here.
Thank you.
Would you like something? A malt or a soda?
A malt, I think.
A well-mannered group, aren't they? You notice their good manners right away. Good manners make good first impressions. And because your manners are showing all the time, they have a lot to do with how well people like you. We've noticed Jack's manners because, well, they seem easy and natural. Of course, he does have a special reason for good manners right now. But good manners are comfortable and natural and easy for him now because they're with him all day. All day? Well, let's see.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, Jack.
Morning.
Morning, Jack.
Hi.
Morning, dear.
See? A cheerful good morning is a good way to start the day. Good manners will help toward a pleasant, happy day. And home is a good place to practice them.
I think that wishing someone good morning should be a choice, in the way that do it unless you really don't want to, because it shouldn't be some automatic thing. It is a well wish, and I feel like you should mean it before you say it. But besides just wishing someone good day when you say good morning, it has a few other functions as well, so we need to talk about those as well. You can use good morning or any greeting to announce yourself when you walk into a room, so you don't accidentally creep up on someone and end up jump scaring them without meaning to, so I think that is very useful. And I find this the most important function of any greeting, because I just don't like being jump scared, and I don't think a lot of people do like getting jump scared, especially if you're not watching a horror movie. You can also use good morning to open up the conversation, especially when you don't know someone very well and you do need to have a conversation with this person, because just starting a conversation without any greeting can feel very hostile. Like, instead of "can I have these shoes" to a store employee, for example, you can say "good morning, may I have these shoes?" or "good morning, can I have these shoes, please?" A good morning will start the conversation with a friendly vibe, basically. However, I do think that wishing someone good morning, like a bus driver or a store employee, without having another rest of the conversation and without having the chance to jump scare them, is completely unnecessary unless you want to really wish them a good morning. Like, I wish every bus driver I see a good morning when I'm there in the morning, because I genuinely want them to have a good morning. And I feel like a lot of people see this as a sort of automatic thing to say, and I don't like that, but that's personal. The voiceover in the video said that saying good morning to someone will make your own day more pleasant, but I do think that is overselling it a little bit. However, I will still put this in A tier because it is very useful in many different occasions.
Some eggs, Dad?
Thanks.
May I have some toast, please?
Yes, dear.
Thank you.
May I? Please? Thank you. These are words of respect. Words that make day-to-day living go smoothly.
I find these words kind of complicated because I feel like they've lost their meaning in many different ways. But on the other hand, they can be important for the good vibes thing, just like the good morning. They always kind of feel like people say them because they have to, except for maybe thank you when you're really grateful. The words may I please have the sauce are essentially the same thing as give me the sauce, because I find it very annoying that if you want the sauce and you're eating with a group of people, you have to ask it in a question, but the person you're asking it from cannot really say no because that would be rude. However, you are not going to order them to give you the sauce either, because that is rude and hostile. They cannot say no. I often answer no when people ask me this, if I know them very well, just as a joke, because I will say no and then directly go grab the sauce whilst I'm saying no. But like, it feels so weird that it is a question, even though a no is not an accepted answer in this case. I think the most honest and genuine way to say this is give me the sauce, please. Like, that sounds nice, but it still sounds like a demand. But it is a demand, and we're asking it like a question. It's kind of very weird. I'm going to split this up. The may I ... please sentence will go into D tier because it's very inefficient and it does not make a lot of sense to me. And the thank you goes into S tier because I think it's very important to show gratitude, and thank you does show gratitude, and I feel like most people mean it when they say it, when they're not being sarcastic, of course, because it is polite, but also because you get something and you're at least a tiny little bit grateful for getting the thing.
Oh, Jack, do you think I could borrow that portable radio of yours for the picnic tomorrow? Please?
Asking to borrow things politely, not demanding them.
All right.
And sharing things when you can are more signs of good manners.
I'm curious if sharing things without it having to be a transaction has become less common over the last 75 years. I can still see that we are sharing things with other people, and that is wonderful, but also I feel like it has become less common and that interactions are becoming more and more transactional over time, and I don't like that. But I might just be very bleak with my worldview. I will put this in S tier anyhow.
It's about time to get out the storm windows and check them over. How about tonight, Jack?
Gee, I'm sorry, Dad. I have a date tonight. Would tomorrow be all right?
Sure. Just make sure you
Yes,
don't forget.
even when you have to go against another's wishes, you can do it agreeably.
On time this morning.
Being agreeable, saying and doing things in a pleasant way, that's easy enough. And it does make a difference all day long.
I'm all for reaching a compromise with someone, but I would not call that being agreeable. Being agreeable to me means agreeing to something in order to avoid a conflict that you're not entirely agreeing with actually on the inside. And I am against that, because disagreeing when you actually disagreeing with someone makes you be your own person and have your own opinions, and you can be civil about it and have a discussion about it, but disagreeing is not necessarily a bad thing. So I will put respecting someone else's plans and compromising in B tier.
Ready?
Yeah, just a second. I'll put my jacket on here. Oh, excuse me. I'll get it.
Excuse me, Jack's good manners are showing again.
I've always found the phrase excuse me a little bit weird. We have the exact same thing in Dutch, so it's not something about learning a new language. In Dutch it's excuseer mij, and it literally translates to the exact same thing. I find it weird because it actually means that you're already apologizing for something that you're going to do that you know that the other person is not necessarily going to like a lot, but it's kind of unavoidable, and the other person would most likely understand that it is, so it is fine. I feel like excuse me means that in most cases where you say that. It can also be a very passive-aggressive way to imply that you think that the other person should apologize. Like when they walk into you and you're like, excuse me, they should have said excuse me beforehand or like apologize afterwards. The words excuse me have their uses, but I don't think it's entirely necessary. Like, we could move on from that as a civilization, I feel like, so I will put this in C tier.
Jack Connor speaking.
It's helpful to give your name when you answer.
This has aged very badly with the age of phone scams. I would highly recommend announcing yourself when you're the person calling someone. Like, sometimes some kind of institution is calling me and they need to call me and they're like, and then I'm like, hello, because I'm not going to say my name because phone scams can use that. So I say hello and then they start talking. On the other hand, I read on Reddit that it's rude that Gen Z people are only picking up the phone and saying hello and not saying their names. I get that phone scams were less of a thing in the 1950s. However, they are now. I'm not saying my name unless you tell me who you are, who you work for, and if I then decide that it's safe to say my name, which in most cases it is, I will say my name. But it's your job as the caller to state your name and why you're calling me first, so I know that it's safe to give you any amount of information about myself. So this goes into F tier. However, back then it might have been more polite and that makes sense. But we're judging this in nowadays context.
Well, Mr. Moore, I'm sorry. My father just left for the plant a few minutes ago. May I take a message?
Ask him to call me when he comes in tonight.
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much.
I'll tell him. All right, sir. Goodbye.
You can be direct and brief on the phone, say what you have to say, and then stop. For on the phone, too, your manners are showing.
I like being brief and to the point in a lot of situations. I don't need to know your entire life story if you're a semi-stranger to me, especially when that's not the point of the conversation. I do like to read your personal life stories in the comments, however, but that's a different situation. Anywho, I am very bad at this because I tend to over-explain myself when I'm calling the tax agency, for example, because I want to do the right thing and I want the person on the other end of the phone to know what the context of the situation is, which is often not really necessary. But I do agree with this, so I will put this in B tier.
Ready to go?
Waiting for you.
We're going, Mom. Goodbye.
Bye. Oh, bye, Jack. Bye, sis.
See you after school.
Right.
When Jack leaves the house with a lady, it's ladies first. Yes, even with his sister. For on the street, as much as at home, your manners are showing.
Ladies first gives me the ick because I've heard this far too much as a non-binary person. I was curious where this came from, so I tried looking it up, but my sources were inconclusive. Some sources said that it was to ensure that the space is safe to enter, so basically using the woman as a sacrifice to go in, and if it was dangerous they would know because they would not come back out, and if it was not dangerous they could get in and everyone was alive. Other sources says that it became more widespread after the Titanic happened, the boat, not the movie, so that women were saved first, along with the children, of course, which is the literal exact opposite, so I don't know. Either way, this is now seen as a sign of respect, and I think it's up to the person themselves to decide if they're into it, and I'm not into that. To me, it feels like a man saying, I need to be cared for because I would be a woman, which I'm not, but that's besides the point, and I don't like that again. I do like it when someone holds the door open for me, as I will hold open a door for anyone else as a sign of respect, because you don't want the door slammed in your face, but that does not have anything to do with gender for me, so I will put this in F tier. Hold open a door for someone, don't slam it in their face. If you're first at the door, it's nice to hold the door open for the person behind you if you're with them. The gender does not matter of anyone involved.
It's a simple enough matter to give people you meet plenty of room to pass. Good manners again, and they put you in a good light.
I hate it when people walk into me or I walk into them. I don't think that needs an explanation, so this will go in S tier.
Hi.
How are you? Well, hi, Mary.
Hi. Morning.
How are you? We've missed you.
I'm fine now. No more tonsils, please.
Oh, that's right. You had them out, didn't you?
A cheerful greeting for friends you meet, an inquiry about their welfare, and everyone feels more at ease. That's what good manners do. They make everyone feel at ease. What about manners when the bus comes? That's right, of course. Ladies first, and no shoving or pushing.
No shoving people on the bus has to go in S tier as well. I think that makes a complete amount of sense. However, people still do this way too much and I don't understand why. Like, this almost happens to me every single day or every single time I use public transport, and I'm so done with this. Nobody likes to be pushed.
Inside the bus, you can enjoy the ride and let others enjoy it. Or you can, well, look around. Perhaps the less said about this kind of manners, the better. And this kind. Your manners are showing. And it's good manners that make a good impression. Now, about getting off the bus. Should Jack get off first? Yes, he can give the ladies a hand. And girls, let the men help. They enjoy it.
So why do we do this? Because men want to feel needed? Of course, lending a hand is all fine if someone needs it and is struggling to get off the bus. But otherwise, why on earth are we doing this? This goes into F tier.
And no loafing around. Being on time is good manners too.
Being on time goes in A tier. I think it is indeed good manners. Minutes or two too late or too early is perfectly fine.
Are your manners showing when you're in class? Let's see. There's Jack giving the teacher his best attention. Good manners again.
This is overrated, I think, because there's a huge difference between acting like you're paying attention, like Jack is doing here, and actually paying attention. When I stare at someone, like Jack is doing in the video, there is a 90% chance I'm thinking about literally anything else than what the person is talking about. Because I have ADHD and I cannot focus like that. But there is another problem here. This also goes for neurotypical people to some extent. There is research that shows that if you involve all your senses into learning something, you retain the information better. So, for example, writing notes when a teacher is explaining the course material will work a lot better for retaining the information and paying attention than just staring at the teacher and trying to understand what they are saying and forgetting it afterwards. So I think taking notes when the teacher is talking actually shows more respect, that you're actually interested in remembering what they are saying than just staring at them. So I will put this in D tier.
Now, in order to understand Anglo-Saxon England, we must go back many, many years.
Betty, did I tell you the latest that Jan told me?
This kind of manners shows too. It's one way to impress the teacher.
I agree with this, but it is also normal teenage behavior to talk during class every now and then. But it can also be disturbing to the people around you, so I will put this in B tier.
All right, we'll continue our discussion now. We're talking about Queen Elizabeth and the coronation. All right, class dismissed.
Say, I noticed you're new in class. I'm Jack Connors.
Hi, Jack. My name's Fred Johnson. Glad to know you.
All right, Fred. See, I thought we might walk around the school here and
Introducing yourself to a new classmate is good manners and easy.
Jack? Say, have you seen the new school paper?
No.
Well, here, you can borrow mine. My sister has one I can use.
An offer of help, willingness to share, and your good manners help make friends for you.
I don't think this is easy at all because new people are scary. Now, a lot of people don't think that, and a lot of people get over that fear really easily, and I think it's really worth it because we all know how it feels when someone validates your existence and acknowledges that you're there in a new space. And they have the overhand when you're the new person because they know everything and everyone around them and you don't. So I think it's worth it to make that connection and help someone to feel more wanted in a space, essentially. So this will go into A tier.
Walking slowly, keeping to the right, more good manners.
I feel like this one needs to be reintroduced. If you walk slowly, walk on the right side. Nobody does this anymore. When I'm out and about, I like to walk like I am participating in the World Championship of speed walking. And it's very annoying when people are just walking very slowly in the middle of a path, widespread, so I cannot get past them, and you have to walk very slowly behind them, and that's just very annoying. If you're walking slowly, perfectly fine. Make some space so people can get past you, please. Obviously, this goes into S tier.
Some nice pictures and everything.
Oh, I'll get them.
Can I give you a hand?
No, that's all right.
She'll remember good manners, and that makes Jack rate high with her.
I am all for helping people, but the voiceover makes it sound like it's part of flirting. It's not flirting, it's just helping someone to make their life easier. Helping someone also gives you good brain chemicals in most of the cases, so you will get happier too. It's a win-win situation, but it's not transactional at all. So this goes into S tier without the transactional part of this interaction of helping someone. You don't need anything back. If this person is never talking to Jack ever again, that would be perfectly fine.
After school, when it's time for fun, when it's so easy to forget about manners, what about then? Yes, your manners are showing then, too. What are good manners when you're driving? Obeying all the traffic laws. Yes, but more than that. You can wait for someone to get across the street, even if you do have the right-of-way. You can drive as quietly as possible. No hanging on the horn or loose mufflers.
I still don't know the English verb for using a car horn, so I will resort to using the Danglish or the Anglified Dutch version of the Dutch word toeteren, and I will make it into tooting. I know that has different meanings. I don't care. Tooting. It's called tooting the car horn now. Not tooting your own horn, that's one of those different meanings. Now, I agree with the idea that tooting your car horn when it's not necessary is a very bad idea. I'm also under the impression that that is actually illegal. I'm not entirely sure if that's just illegal right here. Someone told me that. I've not looked it up. I don't have a driver's license. I don't know. It's not contextually necessary to look this up, but I feel like it can cause dangerous situations to toot the car horn without any good reason to do so. So this will be put into S tier.
Your manners show in the things you do, in the clothes you wear.
Sis, you're not going yet, are you?
Pretty soon, Jack. Larry's due any minute now.
Well, here's the portable. Pardon me, sis, but you aren't... Do you think you should go to a picnic dressed like that?
Picnic? Oh, the picnic's tomorrow.
Oh, I guess I misunderstood you this morning. I'll put the radio in your room.
Thanks. Oh, Jack, I am going to a concert tonight. Do you think I look all right?
For a concert? Terrific. Wait a second.
Yes, your manners are showing all day long.
Jack should stop flirting with his sister. Also, I don't quite understand why this outfit would be inappropriate for a picnic. I think it's perfectly appropriate for a picnic, but that might just be a cultural difference since I was not alive in the 50s in the US, obviously. However, I do think that clothing rules should be less strict in general. I think it's perfectly fine to go outside when you are clothed, like going outside naked. I think we need to be way less trigger happy about nakedness in general, but also wear clothes outside, that is fine. I am the person who would be totally fine with the idea that we can wear pajamas working in retail, working in an office. I will not do that, by the way, if you are a future employer of mine. I know the rules and I will keep myself to the rules, but also, but the way this is explained, I think it should go into F tier also.
You may not know it, but all along the way, your manners leave their mark. At home,
Jack is so kind and thoughtful. It's nice to have him come to breakfast dressed and cheerful.
on the telephone,
That message will be delivered. Fine boy, that Jack Connors. Helpful.
on the street,
There's a pleasant, well-mannered group of young people, not like some.
everywhere you go, your manners are with you, and they leave their mark. They help you feel sure of yourself, too, and they make an impression on people, on everyone you meet. We could listen in on Jean's thoughts, for example, but, well, you take it from here.
I find it so very funny that the voiceover is trying to convince us that having good manners is really worth it, like that it makes your own life better, and to a certain extent I think that it does, but I find that so funny. Before I share all of my conclusions with you, we have to look at another video from these people, because they also made a video about dating etiquette. Obviously we have to watch that. For this entire thing, I think we should disregard gender roles until they come actually problematic, and they will, no worries, but until then we'll just disregard this.
Have you ever worried about how to ask for a date or how to act when you're on a date? Well, Date Etiquette will help answer your questions, help you through those awkward moments, help you have more fun.
Hi, Daddy. I wanted to catch you before you left school.
What for?
Well, would you like to go to the class play a week from Saturday night? I know it's a little late to
That's
ask
the
you,
way. A date proposal should be specific, not one of those you busy Saturday things. That's a part of date etiquette, and a girl likes it. A girl likes a fair chance to decide whether she wants the date or not.
I couldn't catch you in Spanish class, and well...
Well, that's all right, Danny. I'm not doing anything Saturday night. I'd like to go.
Oh, that's swell.
It's up to Danny to give Alice all the details of the date, but if he leaves anything out, she can always ask.
It's hard. It ought to be good. I think we'll enjoy it. Let's see. I'll pick you up a week from Saturday about, 7:30. How's that?
Fine. Are we double dating?
That I don't know, but I can let you know if we are.
We can talk about it during the week.
Sure, and then I can get your address from you, too.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. And don't forget.
I think everyone likes it when plans are clear. Personally, I would prefer, would you go on a date with me, to make your intentions more clear before planning the dates, because little bit of a story. One time I met someone on a dating app, and this person asked me out. They were like, would you want to meet and hang out on this day? And I said yes. Then I went to my friend's group text and I was like panicking, because I was like, this person asked if we should meet up. Is this a date? And then they were like, it's a dating app. Of course it's a date, which makes sense, but like I want to make that clear beforehand, you know? And after that you can plan together what you're going to do when. Being specific when you are planning a date goes into A tier, because I like that.
Well, here it is, Saturday night. Alice looks kind of sharp. Good grooming is an important part of date etiquette. A fellow wants a girl to look nice when he takes her out, and he likes her to dress to suit the occasion.
I think this goes for everyone, but I also would like to add that you should not overdo this. You should still feel like yourself, which may include not wearing your perfect clothes or wearing your perfect makeup, because that can feel like you're performing some kind of premium perfect version of yourself. And that's not what you want to do when you're dating, because the person you're dating for long term is generally also the person you can most be yourself with. And if you start off presenting yourself like more than you are, or like the version of yourself that you think the other person wants to see, it's not gonna go great. So don't overdo it, but I will put this into C tier.
Well, Alice is ready on time, 7:30. That's when Danny was supposed to be here. And he is here. He's dressed to suit the occasion, too. Danny's timing is good. Not too early, but not late. Very nice.
I know we went through this a little while ago, and I will still leave it be an A tier, but we need to talk about it a little bit more. Because what does being on time mean? Like, you're not gonna arrive perfectly on the dot, though that would be perfect, but there are like circumstances outside of that. You might have a train that arrives either 5 minutes beforehand or 5 minutes afterwards, and you're not going to stand in front of the door awkwardly to wait until it's the perfect time. No one wants that. So we should specify a window of time when it's still on time instead of a specific time. New idea. Start your work at 9, but it can also be 20 minutes from either way. That would be more perfect, because being on time is kind of fake. But I will leave it in A tier because it is a good idea.
And on the first date, a fellow likes it when the girl meets him at the door. Meeting her parents can be uncomfortable if it isn't handled well.
Mother, this is Danny Johnson.
How do you do, Danny?
Dad?
Glad to know you, Danny. How do you do?
Danny and I sit across from each other in Spanish class.
Oh, how's Alice getting along?
Oh, she's pretty good. Bueno.
I'll get my coat.
Alice tried to get a conversation going, but it didn't quite come off. What do you do in a case like this?
Did Alice tell you where we were going this evening?
Yes, the school play, but she didn't tell us what it was.
Oh, it's a new comedy called January Thaw. It's supposed to be very good.
Oh, I remember reading about that. It played on Broadway last year, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Just about...
Well, Danny's doing all right, it seems. He's comfortable, and he's made Alice's parents feel comfortable. He's making a good impression on them, too. Of course, the conversation isn't anything special, but for a starter, talking about the date is good enough. Parents are always interested in that.
I am of the opinion that it's the parents' job to make the situation comfortable in this situation because you're still in high school. Because teenagers are awkward, it should not be their job to make the parents of the person they are going on a date with comfortable. This situation is entirely different when you're both moved out and you're dating and you plan a time to meet the parents and go out to dinner with the parents of your partner, for example. That's entirely different. Then you're both adults and then the entire point of the meeting is that you're going to have a conversation, meet each other. That's different. This is just a circumstance that you have to meet the parents because the person you're going on a date with lives there. So in this case, especially because the person is supposedly a minor, they should not have to make the parents comfortable. So the way the video explains this makes me want to put this in detail.
Say, I like that coat. That's really good looking.
Well, thank you. We'll be home before 12, won't we, Danny?
Oh, sure.
By 12? Well, the play starts at 8:15. It should be over by 10:30. Sure, we'll be home before 12, probably 11:30.
Good.
Let's make it 12 at the latest, just to be safe.
All right.
All right. Good night. Have
It's a
lots of
good
fun.
idea for the girl to set a coming-in time with her parents. And when the boy backs her up, her parents know that the two are looking out for themselves.
This is more of a safety thing than a good manners thing, I think. It kind of depends on the situation, because letting your parents know when you will be home is also a manners thing, I guess. I don't have too much of a strong opinion about this. I do like safety, so I will put this in B tier.
As they walk, notice that Danny will change his position. Of course, walking on the curbside isn't really necessary, but it's polite.
Nobody likes being splashed by cars driving through a puddle next to the curb. So I don't understand why this has to be a gendered thing. Well, I understand it from like the protecting and the whatever and the chivalrous gentleman kind of point of view, but I don't like it and it goes into F tier. Like, if you walk on the curbside, you walk on the curbside and you will be the sacrifice, no matter who that's gonna be.
At the play, date etiquette has its place too. Watch when they enter the auditorium. The girl follows the usher, as she would at a movie theater. See? And if there hadn't been an usher, then Danny would have led the way. Well, the play's starting. Let's come back at intermission time.
F tier. The person that walks in front should be the one to find the chairs. If that's done by following an usher, the person in front follows the usher first. It's as simple as that.
Now, here's something for you girls to notice. Watch Alice. See how she turns aside a little? When money is involved on a date, a girl shouldn't watch to see how much is being spent. Fellows like that kind of politeness.
This is problematically gendered, I think. This video came out before women were allowed to have their own bank account, so that's important context. I feel like there's still a taboo around how much things cost, so this is enforcing that. And I feel like it's important to be open about these things, to raise the taboo on this, because you don't have to make a fuss about it every time. Like, if your partner buys you an ice cream, you may know how much it is and you don't have to talk about it. And I think that is important to opening up the conversation about money and to make money not a taboo subject. Like, people buy stuff for you and that's wonderful, and vice versa nowadays, and that's also wonderful, and that's allowed to exist. And things cost money. That's not a problem. Well, it is more of a problem if you're having the secrecy around it, because the secrecy is disturbing to me. So I will put this in F tier.
Oh, Jenny, this is Danny Johnson. This is Jenny Carter.
How do you do, Jenny? Jenny, I'd like you to meet Alice Wright. Jenny Carter and... You know, I've been sitting behind you for a whole semester in civics and I can't remember your name.
When you don't quite know what to do, just be natural. That's the most important part of date etiquette. Being natural.
I get that this works for neurotypical people, but if you're autistic, this is a trap, especially if you're around neurotypical people who you don't know very well. Don't get me wrong, autistic people deserve to be natural as well, and especially when you're dating someone, it's very important to be natural or yourself, because you cannot mask 24/7 because that is unhealthy. Sometimes you have to for safety reasons, but it's not very healthy. But it is a tricky thing because being natural for autistic people is only something that is comfortable and safe to do around people who know you and who you know won't be disturbed by that. That depends on how well you are adjusted as yourself as an autistic people to a society. There are varying degrees of stuff and whatever. It's a very complicated thing, but just saying be natural is not gonna work in a social situation for autistic people most of the time, because it can lead to exclusion or bullying or even worse. Just be natural is also just very fake. I'm going to put this in C tier and change the wording to be yourself as much as possible as is safe to do for you.
And here's another point. When you're out, it's good to mix with the others, but remember that your date is your first consideration.
Last week I was listening to an older episode of the podcast Perfect Person by Miles Bonsignore. I would definitely recommend that. Anyhow, in the podcast someone got in and told a story about how they were literally in the middle of doggy style things when the person behind this person got a phone call and literally just picked up the phone and started chatting with the person on the other side. Was this an emergency? Absolutely not. Was not an emergency at all. And I was like, how do you even do that? Like, especially in a moment like that, you should be like so focused on the person. It's just very weird. But the main takeaway is that if you're on a date with someone in sort of a romantic or date situation, you mainly, or you're focused on the person you're with. That makes total sense to me. I don't think that needs to be a rule, because why wouldn't you want to do that? So I agree with this. Emergencies exist though, and they are valid if they're actual emergencies, so I am going to put this in A tier.
Now that the play is over, they may go somewhere for a bite to eat.
How'd you like to go to the Blue Inn?
They don't have to, but if they both feel like it. Here's something important for you fellows. A way to indicate how much you can afford to spend.
How would you like this hamburger deluxe? I've had it before and it's pretty good.
The thing for Alice to do is check the price of the hamburger deluxe. That may not be what she wants, but it gives her a guide to about how much Danny wants to spend.
I think I'll have a chicken salad sandwich.
This is a pretty smart trick, but you both need to know the trick in order for it to work. I think that if you're inviting someone on a date or something to a restaurant, you should pick a restaurant where you can generally afford the dishes and afford to pay. Now, a lot of restaurants happen to have like one super expensive dish, disproportionately more expensive than the rest of it. So if you're in a restaurant with someone who invited you, you're not ordering this dish. That should be clear. You're also not ordering more courses than the person who invited you. That should also be clear. Besides that, I think you can order anything if it is in a normal price range in the context of the rest of the food. The other option is just saying, hey, I plan to spend about this much on this dinner or this date. I don't think we're there yet as a society because the taboo on money spending and everything, but I think that would be perfectly fine as well. Because this trick is pretty interesting, I'm going to put it in C tier.
Watch. It's Danny who gives both orders to the waitress.
We'll have a chicken salad sandwich and a hamburger deluxe and 2 glasses of milk, please.
2 glasses. All right.
All right, thank you.
In my opinion, you either both order for yourself or the person the waiter looks at first orders for the entire table. The safest option is to just order for yourself because you can avoid mistakes and you don't have to remember your own food and the other person's food at the same time. I don't know, I struggle with that. So this is an F tier advice.
Well, here's another one of those awkward moments. What to do? Try a little date etiquette.
I'm really having a very nice time, Danny.
Oh, I am, too. I sort of thought we'd get along pretty well together. Well, you know, we get along pretty well at school, and, well, we like the same things, and I think we have a lot in common. You know, I've been noticing that charm bracelet ever since I called for you this evening. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like it.
Do you like it? It is rather unusual.
Yes, it is. I really like it.
I made it myself.
You did?
Yes.
Where'd you ever learn to do that?
I make a lot of my own jewelry.
No.
A man in New York we know taught me.
Asking a girl to talk about herself is a pretty sure way of keeping a conversation going. Before long, Alice will have Danny talking about himself, and conversation will follow along naturally.
I'm going to rephrase this into ask the other person to show interest in them. Not for the sake to keep the conversation going, but because you are genuinely interested. Otherwise, it's gonna be a very hard conversation to have. Like, if someone is going to talk about trucks, divert the conversation into something else if you don't like trucks. And also try to find a connection in the situation. That might be very helpful because maybe there is a way you're interested in trucks and you don't know it yet. So this is going in B tier.
But let's leave them alone for the meal. They'll use good table manners.
Thank you. Are you ready to go?
Uh-huh.
All right. Your coat.
Of course, Danny helps her with her coat. And he won't forget the tip. You know, in most eating places, tips are customary.
I can handle my own coat, thank you very much. That goes in F tier. As for the tipping, I think that's a very culturally loaded thing. I know that in the US, restaurant workers are not paid a living wage and they basically have to live off of the tips. So in the US, yes, definitely tip. However, in the Netherlands, we also have a tipping culture, but it's way more optional. Kind of depends on where you're going. I would say that it's more common to tip in more expensive places, and if the place is really cheap, you don't tip. Like, nobody tips in Starbucks here, except for like 3 people, and mostly those are the American people. I tip about 50% of the times because you don't have to, but I often like to do it so because it is a convention in society to do here so too. But like, restaurant workers are paid a living wage, or they are not paid more than a retail worker most of the time. I think that tipping culture is weird in general, just pay people, because I feel like by far not every job is paid a living wage in the US and only restaurant workers get tips most of the time. So I will put this in C tier just because you learn that you have to, but the societal things around it are just very weird.
Well, I think we planned our schedule just about right. It's not 12 yet.
I don't think my folks are still up.
He hasn't yet asked her for another date. A little hint might help.
Parents are.
I really had a wonderful time, Danny. Thanks for asking me.
Danny's pretty sure now that Alice would accept another date if he asked.
It was all just wonderful.
Well, I do think we have fun together.
Uh-huh, we do.
Maybe we can plan something for later on.
I'd like that.
Well, we can talk about it at school.
Uh-huh.
Well? No, there won't be a goodnight kiss. Not on the first date. Neither one really expects it. And so, the date's over. And we've seen some practical examples of date etiquette. The kind of behavior that girls like to see in boys, and boys like to see in girls. The kind of behavior that makes dates a lot more enjoyable.
I very much like to overthink the first date before deciding to go on the second date, so directly deciding afterwards is not for me. This is why I like the age of phones. I can just text about this, and I would say that it is common courtesy to decide this within a few days after the first date and not wait 3 weeks afterwards, because that's kind of weird and people will start to move on, which is totally fair. But in the context of the time back then, it would make sense to ask it right there after the first date, because that would be the least awkward time to ask this. So this is going to be put into B tier. I feel like we learned a lot today. To me, it's very interesting that these videos were made to be shown in schools, because I don't think etiquette is in any way, shape or form part of the curriculum in high school or any school anymore, in most places, at least in Europe and in the US right now. And I'm not sure that if it should be. Like, I think that this is one of these things that needs to be taught by parents, but also it's abundantly clear that a lot of parents are not teaching their children about etiquette or like manners in the smallest way. I do think that learning to say thank you and not pushing people onto the bus and other stuff like that is very important. I'm also surprised that not too much has changed. Most of the things I put in the lower tiers are things that I think are very outdated, so that kind of makes sense. And that might also be a reason to not show etiquette in school, because it changes with the context, with the times, with new inventions, with everything, and it changes in different cultures as well, so maybe it should not be taught in schools. I feel like about half of these rules are pretty universal, and the other half are subjective and culturally dependent in some way or another. Also, let me know which your favorite character is of the videos that we have seen. I think Danny is my favorite because he has a lot of interest in the arts, because he wants to go to the theater and he asks about the bracelet of his date, and I think that's great. Thank you for watching. If you like my little video, please press the wonderful shiny like and subscribe buttons, and then I will see you next time. Ciao!